Life is full of challenges, and as much as we strive for virtue, peace, and integrity, we must recognize an uncomfortable truth. Not everyone shares that same pursuit. The natural instinct is to look for the best in others, to hold on to the belief that people are inherently good. But the reality is, there are individuals who walk a different path, one darker and more treacherous. These people can sometimes blend seamlessly into our lives, often hiding behind a mask of charm and friendliness. The Stoics, with their deep understanding of human nature, cautioned against this naivety. They taught us that not everyone we meet is motivated by virtue. Some are driven by malice, selfishness, or even cruelty. These individuals, who we can describe as having evil tendencies, are adept at hiding their true intentions. If we're not careful, their negative influence can permeate our lives, leaving a trail of harm and discord in their wake. The problem is, these people are rarely as obvious as we might hope. Their actions tend to be subtle at first, creeping into our lives under the guise of kindness, concern, or friendship. But over time, their true nature reveals itself, often leaving us shocked, confused, or betrayed. In Stoic philosophy, the key to protecting ourselves from these negative influences is awareness. We must train ourselves to recognize the signs of malevolent behavior before it has a chance to harm us. In this article, we'll explore the 9 most evident signs that someone around you may have evil intentions, whether it's a colleague, a friend, a family member, or even a stranger. It's important to be able to identify these individuals early on. By recognizing these signs, we can better protect our peace, our values, and ultimately, our lives. 1. They constantly manipulate situations. One of the clearest signs that you may be dealing with an evil person is their consistent manipulation of situations for personal gain. These individuals are experts at turning the circumstances around them to their advantage, often at the expense of others. Whether it's twisting a conversation to make themselves look better or manipulating facts to cover their tracks, their behavior is driven by a need to control and exploit. Stoic philosophy teaches that we should never allow ourselves to be swayed by such tactics, as they seek to cloud our judgment and undermine our sense of integrity. Evil people thrive on control. They'll subtly create situations where you feel obligated to act according to their will. Over time, these manipulations become more sophisticated, making it harder for you to see them clearly. The Stoics, however, encourage us to stay vigilant and resist the urge to be influenced by such behavior. We should remain centered in our principles, recognizing the manipulation for what it is, and acting with wisdom and clarity to avoid being ensnared. 2. They undermine your confidence. Another sign that someone may not have good intentions is if they consistently undermine your confidence. Rather than supporting and encouraging you, they may belittle your achievements, question your abilities, or make you feel inferior. At first, these comments may seem innocuous, but over time, they wear you down, eroding your self-esteem. This is a common tactic used by those who seek to control others. By diminishing your confidence, they make you more dependent on their approval and validation. The Stoics warn us against allowing others to define our self-worth. Our value comes from within, from our alignment with virtue and wisdom, not from the opinions or criticisms of others. When we recognize someone trying to undermine our confidence, we must remember the Stoic principle of focusing only on what is within our control. We are not responsible for the thoughts or actions of others, but we can choose how we respond. By cultivating inner strength and resilience, we make ourselves less susceptible to such negative influences. 3. They are unreliable and self-serving. Evil individuals often exhibit extreme selfishness, and this is reflected in their unreliability. They may make promises or commitments that they have no intention of keeping, only to serve their own interests at the expense of others. Whether it's breaking plans at the last minute, failing to follow through on obligations, or shifting blame when things go wrong. These individuals are more concerned with their own needs than with maintaining trust or relationships. From a Stoic perspective, it's essential to recognize this pattern of behavior early. Stoicism teaches us to be discerning about the company we keep, choosing to associate with those who are reliable and virtuous. In a world filled with uncertainty and change, we must build our lives around relationships that are rooted in trust and integrity. When we identify those who are self-serving and unreliable, we can choose to distance ourselves, preserving our peace of mind and focus on our own virtuous path. 4. They use flattery as a tool. Flattery is often the weapon of choice for those who seek to manipulate and control others. An evil person will use excessive praise or admiration to lower your guard, create a false sense of trust, and ultimately steer you in a direction that benefits them. While compliments and praise can be genuine, when used excessively or inappropriately, they become a tactic of manipulation. The Stoics remind us that true virtue does not depend on the approval of others. Our sense of self-worth should be anchored in our own actions and character, not in the flattery or criticism of those around us. When faced with excessive praise or flattering comments, we must remain grounded in our principles and aware of the underlying motives at play. Flattery is often a mask for manipulation, and by recognizing it, we can avoid being swayed by false admiration. 5. They thrive on drama and conflict. Evil individuals often seem to thrive in environments filled with drama and conflict. Whether it's instigating arguments, spreading rumors, or creating unnecessary tension, they revel in the chaos they create. For these people, conflict is a tool they use to distract, divide, and manipulate those around them. Drama becomes their way of asserting control over others, keeping everyone off balance and uncertain. The Stoics, however, understood the value of peace and tranquility. They believed that a calm mind, unperturbed by external chaos, is the key to true wisdom. Evil people, on the other hand, are constantly trying to stir the pot, creating instability wherever they go. By recognizing the patterns of conflict they instigate, we can avoid becoming entangled in their web of drama. Stoicism teaches us to rise above such distractions, focusing instead on maintaining our inner peace and composure. 6. They have a victim mentality. An evil person often portrays themselves as a victim, even in situations where they are clearly at fault. They never take responsibility for their actions, but instead blame others or external circumstances for their failures. This victim mentality is a way for them to avoid accountability while garnering sympathy and support from those around them. The Stoics, however, teach us to take responsibility for our actions regardless of the circumstances. We cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can always control how we respond. When we encounter someone who constantly plays the victim, it is important to recognize that this behavior is a sign of immaturity and weakness. By refusing to accept responsibility, they refuse to grow. We, on the other hand, can learn and grow from adversity, using it as an opportunity to develop our virtue and wisdom. 7. They show no empathy. Empathy is a key trait that distinguishes virtuous people from those with evil tendencies. An evil person, however, will often lack empathy altogether. They may appear indifferent to the suffering of others, or in some cases, even take pleasure in it. Whether it's a lack of compassion for those in distress, or a complete disregard for the feelings of others, their inability to empathize is a clear sign of their true nature. The Stoics teach that we should strive to cultivate empathy and understanding for others. Compassion is a cornerstone of virtuous living, and it allows us to live in harmony with the world and with other people. When we encounter individuals who lack empathy, we should be cautious. Their actions can cause harm, and their indifference to the pain of others reveals a fundamental disconnect from the virtuous life. 8. They constantly seek to divide others. Evil people often seek to sow division among others, whether it's stirring up tension between friends, creating rivalries in the workplace, or driving a wedge between family members. They thrive on conflict and division. By isolating people from one another, they make it easier to manipulate and control them. This is a classic tactic used by those who wish to dominate others and increase their influence. The Stoics, in contrast, emphasized the important 9. They never apologize. Finally, one of the most telling signs of an evil person is their inability or unwillingness to apologize. No matter how much harm they may cause, they will rarely, if ever, take responsibility for their actions. An apology requires humility and self-awareness, qualities that evil individuals lack. Instead of admitting fault, they may deflect, deny, or make excuses, continuing to hurt others without remorse. The Stoics believed that true wisdom comes with the ability to admit our mistakes and learn from them. To be virtuous is to acknowledge our faults and make amends when we wrong others. When we encounter someone who refuses to apologize, it is a clear signal that they are not on the path to wisdom or virtue. They are trapped in their own self-interest, unable or unwilling to recognize the harm they cause. Conclusion: protecting your peace through Stoic vigilance. In our quest for virtue and peace, we must remain vigilant against the harmful influences of those who seek to exploit, manipulate, or control us. Stoicism teaches us to cultivate a deep awareness of human nature, to recognize when we are in the presence of those whose intentions are harmful, and to distance ourselves from them in order to preserve our own peace. The 9 signs we've explored are not always easy to spot, especially when they come cloaked in charm or disguise. But with practice, we can learn to discern these negative traits and protect ourselves from their impact. By doing so, we not only safeguard our well-being, but also stay true to our commitment to live virtuous, meaningful lives. May we all be guided by the wisdom of the